Sanders, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the amazing intertidal habitat, some common critters you'll see while tide pooling, and also some responsible tide pooling practices. Now, the intertidal habitat is an area by the sea where the land and the sea meet. Tide pools are created with depressions in the rocks that fill with water as the water recedes. Now, the intertidal habitat is made of 4 different zones. We have zone 1, which is a splash and spray zone. Any animal that you find here is desiccation resistant, very desiccation resistant, basically meaning that they can protect themselves from drying out. This area very rarely sees any water, only during the highest of high tides that only happens a couple times a year. Now, zone 2, which is the high intertidal zone. Any animals that you find here are also desiccation resistant because they are exposed most of the day. They only get water during the high tide every day. So they are desiccation resistant too. Now zone 3, which is the mid-intertidal zone, this area is exposed during low tides, like right now. This area, any animals that you find in this area is going to be desiccation resistant, but they prefer to be in the water, but they do have the ability to protect themselves from getting too dried out. Now, of course, the final zone is zone 4. Zone 4 is the low intertidal zone. This area is only exposed to air during the lowest of low tides. It only happens a couple times a year. All of these animals prefer to be in the water and they do not want to be exposed. Okay, so the next thing where I'm going to show you guys is some of the common critters you're going to see. Now, obviously I'm standing in a pool and it's starting to fill with water, but we're going to focus on some things. As you can see right here, we have a sea anemone. Now, sea anemones are really cool because they are perfect at being able to protect themselves from the 3 main stresses of an intertidal animal. They're able to protect themselves from air exposure. They close up in on themselves so that they don't lose any water. They are able to protect themselves from predation with their stinging cells in their arms called nematocysts. The nematocyst basically what it does is it fires whenever anything gets close to it, fires the nematocyst and it'll sting any objects. Now for us, if we were to touch it, it would just stick to us. It's more of a sticky cell than a stinging cell for us. Now they also can protect themselves from predation by covering themselves in little shells, just like this guy has. Now for some responsible tide pooling techniques, you always want to make sure you leave the area cleaner than you found it. You want to make sure that if you lift up any rocks, that you put them back the way you found them. And also you want to make sure that you are very aware of where you are stepping, where your feet are, and also where your hands are. You want to be careful, especially with your hands, because if you put your hands down on some barnacles, you could wind up scratching up your hands by the barnacles, because that calcium carbonate shell that they secrete around themselves, it can be very sharp. So you want to watch your footing, you don't want to be stepping on any of your favorite critters, and you want to watch your hands so you don't hurt yourself. Now the intertidal habitat is always filled with life. We have an anemone, which we already talked about, but then we also have some really cool organisms called chitons. Now you probably can't see them, but chitons are really cool. They are 8-shelled organisms with a mantle surrounding them. They are pretty much vacuum cleaners of the sea. They have a radula, which is basically their tongue, and they go around and they scrape up rocks, and they just scrape up algae. They love algae. There's many different species of chitons around. One of the largest species of chiton is called the gumboot chiton. It is a very huge chiton. It's almost the size of a football, and you can find it primarily in the Pacific Northwest. Now, when it comes to protecting themselves from wave action and predators and air exposure, the chiton is a master at this. He can seal himself to rocks using his giant foot. He also has his 8 shell plates in his mantle to protect themselves from predators. And that same foot will protect them from air exposure, which will cause them to, if they don't seal themselves to rocks, it will cause them to dry out. So they are masters of being able to protect themselves from the elements of living in the intertidal habitat. Well, that's all we have time for today. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you had fun. Bye!